Inside every museum is a hidden world. Now cameras are going behind the scenes to parts of the Victoria and Albert Museum never seen before.
The Fabergé egg, it's as though it's descended from heaven.
Home to more than 2 million wonders of art, design and performance.
A bouquet of flowers from Mr. Tommy Cooper himself.
Just like that.
This year, the V&A is being transformed. With new museums on the way and more of its treasures travelling to every part of the UK.
It's a very important play, etched in Scottish consciousness.
Oh my goodness, the colours. It's so vibrant.
Behind closed doors, the experts are hard at work, uncovering untold stories.
The toxicity can live up to 1,300 years, so these are still poisonous.
Restoring rare wonders.
Have you ever seen an object with so much Sharpie?
And bringing precious masterpieces to light.
Once this layer of dirt is removed, I'll be able to see its true image again.
To preserve the way we lived then.
Isn't he cute?
He's very cute. He has a little cheeky smile.
And the way we live now. For everyone.
Every day I'm finding new things that I had no idea that we had, and that's just the real highlight of the job.
The V&A is home to more than 2 million precious pieces, each with its own tale to tell.
Objects are a great way to sort of expose and tell some of those unknown or undiscovered stories. They are really the vessel. They're a time capsule within themselves.
Many of the objects in the collection reveal as much about those they belong to as the times in which they were made.
Textiles, for example, it's a way of storytelling. If you think about the pieces of cloth that are passed from one generation to the next, or the trinkets that are passed within your own families, they're meaningful things and they say something about individuals when you wear them.
Behind the scenes, work is underway on a major new exhibition.
It would be great to just put these out and see where we are. Okay.
New to the V&A, curator Christine is keen to reveal untold stories of African fashion. In a show that will span mid-20th century fashion and photography to contemporary design.
I do love that. It's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it?
Aided by project curator Elizabeth, Christine's preparations are reaching a crucial stage for an exhibition that's already been years in the planning.
It's really great to see how things are kind of shaping up. The jumping off point for the Africa Fashion Exhibition is the independence and liberation era. So the 1950s through to the 1990s.
This is 58 and this is 60s.
Then move to contemporary creatives, so bang up to date.
The exhibition will showcase a total of 250 objects, including outfits from pioneers of African couture, Chris Seydoux and Kofi Ansah, and cutting-edge designer Iman Ayisi.
There'll be ensembles by some of the most creative people on the continent. We will represent around 25 of the 54 African countries. It's really thrilling, it's so exciting.
Sitting alongside designer fashion will be items with more personal stories.
We see the Africa Fashion Exhibition as the people's exhibition. We want people to come and feel at home and see themselves in the exhibition.
Christine has already put the call out for objects with personal significance on Radio 4's Woman's Hour.
What do you want from our listeners today?
We want people to search their attics. Do you or your relatives still have garments? Do you have family portraits during the 1950s to the 2000s that showcase these fashions of the day?
It's exciting, isn't it? I can't wait to see these.
The appeal has yielded an intriguing personal item that Christine's keen to include in her exhibition.
So these are 2 lengths of kente cloth that have come in from someone called Joyce, and it's her family kente cloth. Joyce's grandmother, I think, bought this. It's a Ghanaian fabric.
Traditionally made from narrow strips of brightly coloured silk and cotton, kente cloth originated in the Ashanti Empire, which first emerged in West Africa in the 17th century.
Many of the patterns relate to different proverbs, or they have particular meanings. They're not just about the placing of one colour against the next.
Kente is usually worn by both men and women on special occasions.
The Commonwealth's first African Prime Minister has declared his country's pride in joining the British family of nations.
Ghana's first Prime Minister, Kwame Nkrumah, used the cloth to promote a new identity during the country's drive towards independence in 1957.
Kente is so much more than a cloth. It has cultural significance across the continent, and it represents pride in African heritage.
This kente could be perfect for the exhibition, but Christine needs to learn more about its story before it earns its place.
Oh, hey!
That you must be Joyce.
Yeah, Christine, nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
She's hoping Joyce's 77-year-old grandmother Gladys and mum Doris have a yarn to tell about the cloth.
It's lovely to meet you both. Thanks, Joyce. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much for making the time to catch up with me today. Tell me a bit more about this cloth, this wonderful kente cloth.
I bought it in the year 1960 when I was pregnant, because I know that I'm going to have a baby. After 3 months, I will go to church for christening.
That's amazing. So you knew that you needed something to wear to the christening?
Yes, after 3 months.
After the birth. Was there a particular reason why you chose that pattern?
Because of the colours
and
the name of the kente. Sika frame moja.
That means money calls blood. So when you have money, you can buy anything you want.
You like.
So in a way, you were beginning your family. So it's almost projecting what you hope for your family. You know, you hoped that, you know, wealth would come in a way.
Yeah.
Doris's christening took place in Ghana several years before the family moved to the UK.
But coming to this country, coming to London, I'm really intrigued to find out, for example, what was the reception of wearing this wonderful cloth in London?
You would wear it exactly how you would wear it back home. You would not alter that, you would not dilute that, because that is your legacy, that's your culture. And for me, it means so much.
I'd love to ask you, Gladys, how people reacted to seeing you in your wrapped kente in the 60s and 70s.
When they saw you, how did they react?
You look nice.
That's wonderful. It's really important to us when we're staging exhibitions to try to inject the personality of the wearer. One of the things that I'm really keen to find out and understand more is how you wore the kente. And maybe we try and arrange a wrapping tutorial for our conservation team. So we might have to do that another time. We'll invite the family in to see the final piece, the final ensemble mounted. We're really keen to get it as exact as we can in terms of what the family want. We really want to get the wrapping of the kente absolutely right.
At the V&A, even some of its most celebrated objects have little-known stories to tell. On permanent display in the Hintsey Gallery are 24 of the French sculptor Auguste Rodin's greatest creations. His independent approach to the human figure paved the way for modern sculpture and the collection is regarded as the greatest gift to the museum by any living artist.
What is really extraordinary about the V&A's collection of Rodin sculptures is that most of them, 18 of them, came directly from the artist in 1914.
Famed for The Thinker and The Kiss, the tale of Rodin's inclusion in the collection has a twist.
What's really quite surprising is that it wasn't a done deal initially that these objects would become part of the V&A collection.
Curator Melanie is keen to dig deeper into how the museum acquired Rodin's sculptures. But soon, she'll be saying au revoir to one of the stars of the collection.
This is one of Auguste Rodin's most radical pieces. It's called Inner Voice.
Inner Voice was sandcast in bronze from Rodin's initial clay model and depicts a young woman lost in her own thoughts. It's considered a masterpiece in its attention to the human body and has been a jewel in the V&A's collection since 1914.
Inner Voice really encapsulates this experimentation with form.
Viewers at the time couldn't understand why you'd display something that was so openly unfinished, which is really fascinating to think about the fact that he very openly said, yes, the arms are missing, part of the legs are missing, but the study of nature is complete. But certainly in 1896, the public didn't understand it.
Inner Voice started life as one of many small figures on a doorway for a new decorative arts museum in Paris. But the artist enlarged and extensively reworked it, eventually making it into an independent sculpture.
So we think she was probably modelled from Camille Claudel, who was Rodin's lover. Around 1892, we know that Claudel suffered a miscarriage, probably Rodin's own child, and it has been speculated that perhaps a bulge here might be a sign of Claudel's bearing a child.
Inner Voice has admirers all around the world.
It's such an important piece within Rodin's career that, as you can expect, it's regularly requested for loan.
Today, she's being packed up and shipped out on loan to a museum in Switzerland.
It's quite heavy, but I think two of us can just lift it up an inch. And then we'll do the same on the other side. 1, 2, 3.
But moving a priceless 200-kilo sculpture doesn't always run like clockwork.
Keep a hand on it as it comes back. Nice and slow.
Moving sculptures, it's an interesting part of the job.
Okay, ready, Al? I'm going to pull.
It's a bit like holding a baby. You hold it firmly but securely. You'll drop it. You don't want to drop it.
And we're on. That's good. Well done.
Before Inner Voice can embark on her Swiss adventure, metal conservator Katrina needs to check she's fit for travel.
I'm just looking to describe the current condition. So, for example, where you can see there's more brown areas here, where it's got a bit more polished and a bit more rubbed. So I'm just making a note of that, just so the conservator at the other end, they know it's not happened during transit, and they know it's not happened while it's on display there.
Any signs of decay could prevent the loan.
We have to scrutinise every nook and cranny to ensure that there's absolutely nothing that will degrade in transport and whether they're suitable to travel.
And we've got a bit of a breakdown of the surface coating here. You can see the coating on the surface has come away and you've got some corrosion pustules forming here.
We have a responsibility over the objects under our care. We need to make absolutely sure that nothing happens to it.
We might look at just putting another coating on the surface just to try and give it a bit of protection.
If there's any problem within the structure that might make us feel an object is not sound to travel, then it will not travel. It's as simple as that.
Away from South Kensington, V&A Dundee shines its light on stories of significance to Scotland. And today, curator Vari is getting one of the museum's largest objects ready for its next chapter.
Today is the day which we've been planning for months. For turning the page of this ginormous book. So yeah, it's quite a momentous moment.
This pop-up book is in fact a stage set, created by Scottish playwright and artist John Byrne. And now, it needs a change of scene.
In order to protect our objects, and because of the really fragile nature of this book, and to protect it from over-light exposure, we will have to turn the page. And in fact, it keeps this object in motion, so it's actually a real treat to be able to turn the page.
But the page turn isn't as simple as it sounds. As it's on long-term loan from the National Library of Scotland, their conservator Shona and V&A Dundee staff have collaborated on a grand page-turning plan.
We'll very carefully and delicately wheel it out.
Yeah, bring the whole plinth forward.
John Byrne is one of Scotland's best-loved artists.
Does it mean anything to you, particularly down in London, to be described as a Scottish painter?
That's okay. Labels, anyway, don't bother me. You know, but it's no an unworthy label, anyway.
He's known for his appealing, childlike style.
John Byrne's artwork has this wonderful, accessible quality.
But alongside his artwork, Byrne is a celebrated playwright, having penned the 80s TV drama Tutti Frutti, starring Emma Thompson and Robbie Coltrane, and The Slab Boys, a story of young working-class Scotsmen at a Paisley carpet factory. Brought to the Broadway stage in 1983, starring a youthful Sean Penn, Kevin Bacon and Val Kilmer.
The Slab Boys is actually quite a personal story. He himself grew up in Glasgow and worked in the carpet factory. John Byrne is, yeah, definitely a national treasure. Everyone knows John Byrne. My colleague has a mug with his face on downstairs. But he was really important. He was really part of this renaissance of Scottish theatre in the 1960s and 70s. And also just has such a wit and a way of expressing his ideas through the plays he writes or through the art he produces.
The set was originally made for a travelling theatre group, as it staged a play called The Cheviot, the Stag and the Black Oil.
It ended up being strapped to the top of a transit van on its thousands of miles around Scotland through all kinds of weather.
Now a museum object, the book needs to be handled with care.
John Byrne made this just out of cardboard, chalk, crayon, paints, the things he had to hand.
Each new page reveals a different scene in the play. But a life of taking the high road has left the book a little worse for wear.
You can even see how they've repaired tears, they've replaced bits that have ripped. It's had a real life.
So we just do some light brushing, avoiding any areas that look like they might be friable, so avoid any red pigment in particular. If you see any dust lifting, then we could give it a vacuum, but I actually think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So the next stage will be for us to go through the pop-ups in the correct order, removing the perspex rods, and then we can lay the hinges flat, ready for turning the next page.
I'm really nervous about this page turn.
There we are. Okay, you got the pop-up?
is always a daunting moment because it's a very fragile object. So yeah, stomach's a bit in butterflies right now.
In South Kensington, the team wants to bring into focus another aspect of African fashion for the forthcoming exhibition. Photography curator Hannah has taken delivery of a new edition, which she's keen to show Christine.
Fashion photography is part of the story of fashion. So for us to showcase photography goes hand in hand with showing the actual ensembles. It's so exciting. It's like Christmas, isn't it?
Kind of, I know. Okay. It's always a very special moment, which is good.
Oh my goodness, the colour. Oh, that red. It's so vibrant, the reds and the greens. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, I almost can't believe we're actually looking at a real James Barner image.
This new print has been made from an original 1970s negative taken by London-based Ghanaian photographer James Barner.
James Barner's work is pioneering in colour photography, but also in photographing black African models. So for me, you just cannot do this exhibition without including his work.
Born in Accra in 1929, Barner's career spans 6 decades and saw him establish the country's first colour processing lab.
The important thing about James Barner is that he was kind of in the right place at the right time. So he's a photographer who comes to London during the swinging 60s and is part of multicultural London. But he's also in Ghana at the time of independence. So in both countries at significant moments.
You can kind of tell that it's an early sort of manufactured color image
Yes.
because of these variations.
I think it's absolutely stunning. And of course, being a fashion person, I love her outfit.
Okay, should we look at another one?
Yeah, oh yes, please, I can't wait.
Hannah has sourced a second suitable picture of Barner's to complement the exhibition's kente cloth.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So these are the two lovely kente cloth ladies.
Yes.
Again in the 70s.
James is incredibly talented and absolutely has a knack for seeing the moment and snapping it right away. It's part of what makes his photographs so wonderful, is that there's a sense of intimacy to them.
I think the thing that drew me to this was the textile, the kente. And I felt it was really important to represent that photographically in that moment in the exhibition. It's the way that they're actually styled, you know, they're fashionable. It might be an indigenous cloth, but they're so fashionable. In the years after independence, or around about the time of independence, there was a looking back to indigenous forms, and you have that in visual art as well.
Yeah.
You have it in textiles, and they could be worn with pride.
Christine and Hannah want to invite James Barner to the museum.
There's lots that we don't know about these photographs, and James holds the key to all those details.
With 11,000 objects in the V&A's furniture collection, some remain shrouded in mystery.
Chests and wardrobes and seats and desks and so on. We've been acquiring pieces from the earliest days of the museum over 150 years ago, but the information that was recorded at the time of those acquisitions is often very sketchy, and in some cases the challenge is to start from scratch in trying to understand what the piece is.
In the stores, curator Nick has made a puzzling discovery.
I came across a piece that I've never seen before. I've been in the museum over 25 years.
To identify it, he needs the help of his colleagues Lucia in science and Dana in conservation.
Good morning.
Hello, Nick.
I think I've got something that will be of particular interest to you here.
Oh, wow. That's really exciting.
Acquired by the V&A in 1855, this ornate wooden tray is believed to date back 3 centuries.
The entry in the accession register, the document we can refer back to, tells us what was acquired, in this case a tray. It gives an attribution, ancient Persian, 17th century, question mark. It provides the dimensions in feet and inches, of course, and the price paid for it.
But Nick believes the object could have been incorrectly logged when it was entered into the ledger 170 years ago.
The tray had been stored with other Eastern Mediterranean lacquered wares, but when I saw it for the first time, I was immediately reminded of other pieces that actually had nothing to do with Persian lacquer. It was a eureka moment. The yellows, the blues, the blacks immediately leapt out at me. I think we must be looking at another piece of the Barnista pastel.
Nick's hunch is that the tray could come from another continent altogether and is a rare example of Barnista pasto.
Barnista pasto, or varnish from pasto, is the name given to a decorative technique, very colourful, that is applied to a range of wooden objects made from the 17th century in the Spanish colonies of Latin America. Barnista pasto has come to be centred in Colombia, in the city of San Juan de Pasto.
There are no more than 20 known Barnista pasto objects in Europe. The V&A currently holds 5, the only examples in the UK. To try and confirm Nick's theory that they've found a 6th, they begin by comparing the tray to their previous discoveries.
This doesn't look as intricate in the design as the other objects. A bit more rustic in its appearance.
It does look like the same type of materials, maybe, but different style, different craftsmanship.
But as no 2 pieces of Barnista pasto appear exactly the same, it makes them extremely difficult to identify.
If the tray does turn out to be Barnista pasto, that would be terrifically significant for us. It would be the first and earliest acquisition that the museum ever made of the material, going right back to the earliest days of the museum.
Just looking at it, have you noticed that some of these figures here, this animal, it looks really comparable to this foxy-like animal that's on the table cabinet.
It's really interesting because there are certainly similarities with the other Barnista pasto objects that we have, but it is different. And until we do some more analysis, I couldn't say whether it is part of this group of objects or if it's from somewhere else.
Elements of Barnista pasto predate the arrival of Spanish colonizers. It's a hybrid style of decoration that mixes indigenous and European techniques. What distinguishes Barnista pasto is the use of a varnish known as moppa moppa. It's made of resin from a rare species of tree found only in the rainforests of the Andes.
The moppa moppa buds are processed very laboriously through washing and heating, boiling, chewing, the extraction of purities into a gum that can be stretched by 2 people using hands and teeth into a very thin film, a little bit like cling film. The craft tradition that survives today in pasto can be assumed to replicate the early techniques.
Barnista pasto can be confirmed through scientific analysis to test for the presence of moppa moppa. But to do that requires Dana to take a specimen from the tray. A last resort.
Taking a destructive sample is a big deal because I'm removing original material from this object, and as a conservator, my mission is to think about the preservation of this object.
In Dundee, the team are all set to turn the page on John Burns' giant yet fragile pop-up book.
After 3, 1, 2, 3.
It's an operation that's been months in the planning.
Right.
As you're turning the page, there is pressure on the spine, so we must be very careful about making sure that that's properly supported. Although some people might think that we're being a bit precious about it, given that it's made from cardboard, it requires a bit of extra TLC and care nowadays.
Burns' portable stage set was commissioned for a travelling production by playwright John McGrath. It was a freewheeling romp through Scottish history, from the 18th century through to the oil boom of the 1970s.
This play, The Cheviot, the Stag and the Black Oil, has had an immense impact on Scottish social consciousness. I mean, that cannot be underestimated. I think it's a really important play.
The play tackled issues of class and power with a drop of Highland humour.
Lord MacDonald was driving the people down to the shores.
What shores?
I'll have a wee dram. Yes. Well, you see, apparently we're having an altercation about the grazing rights on a little moor.
A little moor?
Oh, Angus, that's very civil of you.
With a new supporting plinth being moved into position, the team can now turn the page to reveal another scene.
On 3. Yep. 1, 2, 3.
I'm coming over you.
Yes.
Great. Perfect.
The huge pop-up now needs to be secured in place.
That's it. Yeah.
It depicts a cottage in the Highlands.
So the cottage scene actually is a really important scene in the play, and it really talks about the displacement of tenants from their land, the Highland clearances.
The scene highlights the 18th century clearances, which saw landlords evict tenants from the Highlands in order to maximise profit from the land.
The technological innovation was there. The Cheviot. A breed of sheep that could withstand the Highland winter and produce fine wool. And the money was there. Unfortunately, the people were there too.
A system of subtle supports has been devised to make the pop-up appear freestanding.
We have these perspex feet which will actually hold the pop-up. That's really doing the most of the work. And then we've applied, just attached a backboard here, so that will actually hold in place tension wires to keep the pop-up stable. It's kind of belt and braces.
Fishing wire is key to the illusion.
It's quite important that these tension wires are evenly distributed so that there's no pressure applied to any one particular area of the pop-up. So we've had to carefully map that out. It's actually quite a complex wee system that we've had to develop.
So the idea is that we just lift it in and the cottage will just be put into this slot. Then we can adjust the position as needed. I actually think we could bring the centre forward a little bit. So we push these back and then we'll bring the whole thing forward. Yeah. Just about that much. That looks about right. So that's okay. So now I'll put the foam wedges in the back. Just go as one for there. So we do a very little test and I'll catch it if we think it's almost self-supporting as it is. Yeah. Good.
Looking at it now, with all the apparatus in place, I'm really chuffed.
So now all we need to do is just secure the guy ropes.
This is the dream team. These are the fun moments and actually the best bits of working in a museum.
Ahead of the Africa Fashion Exhibition, Christine and Hannah are meeting one of its key contributors, James Barner. Now 92, he was a pioneer of colour photography in Ghana during the early 70s.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, welcome.
Yes.
They want to include some of his early colour test shoots in the display.
I'm always struck by the composition and the way that he places certain colours here and there and almost tells a story through his photographs. Thinking about this particular image, I'm really intrigued to know who the lady in the photograph is. How did you come to take this particular photograph?
The idea was to have a guide to color, or whether your chemical is going correct or wrong. So I went and borrowed something colorful, and these were the bottles which we had. This girl was working in the shop, and I went and asked the manager to let me have her for a few minutes. That's why she came in. And luckily, she's got the fashion of the 1970s dress, you know, and she didn't dress specially for me.
Amazing.
So James, tell us about this photograph.
This was a day in the calendar of the church where all the church members will go dressed in their best, using color film in your camera instead of black and white to the photographer. The lookup was tremendous. It was a new fashion, and the women who also wore their kente cloths and other things wanted to show more of color. So it did make a big jump, a big effect on even the designing of clothes and so on in Ghana. One pride that I have is the recording of my time. That has made me proud, because things have changed, and when people see them, they say, oh, yes, you know, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. You
Because
know.
it's what you see, isn't it? It's how you see the world.
Yes, yes.
No one else can see the world in the way that you see it.
I would say I was in the midst of it during the making of the fighting for independence, and during and after. So recording all these things deserve it. Now at 90 or 80, I've got some recognition. But honestly, I would wish that this recognition of my work or me came when I was about 60 or 65. I wouldn't say it's too late, because some artists, or most artists, get recognized when they've already gone. So I'm lucky. I'm proud that some of my handwork is being preserved, especially to convince black people or other, you know, people in the diaspora that their work is intended, you know, it's important.
He's been working as a photographer all his life. There was this period of his career where his work wasn't being shown. His work is just so amazing, and so it's a way of reminding myself and others that African creativity matters, that we matter, that we have contributed so much to this world.
In conservation, despite some outer imperfections, Rodin's inner voice has been given the green light to head to Switzerland.
There was a thought that maybe we would apply a protective coating over it, but the coating that's on it is original. And the issue there is if we apply a new coating to it, it will bond with the original coating, which means we can never remove our new coating. And the idea is that we always want to preserve things in as original condition as we possibly can.
Before Inner Voice leaves the museum, Melanie's keen to uncover the strange story of how Rodin's works came to be part of the collection. She's asked archivist Christopher to track down the original letters between Rodin and the V&A.
Hello.
Morning.
Good to see you.
And you?
Wow, look at these.
Great moment. This is the real thing.
Very exciting.
We're very fortunate because the documentation for this acquisition is very, very rich indeed. We have a very full file of correspondence and papers that tells a great deal about what went on.
Part of the correspondence is from Eric McLagan, head of architecture and sculpture at the V&A in 1914.
It starts out with Eric McLagan writing to the transit room at the museum saying, you've got to go and collect these sculptures, they're all packed up and we're taking them in on loan.
In 1914, Rodin was exhibiting 18 sculptures at Grosvenor House in London. When war broke out, it became too dangerous to transport them back to France. McLagan saw an opportunity to exhibit them temporarily at the V&A, but expected resistance at boardroom level.
When Eric McLagan was writing to the director of the V&A, Sir Cecil Harcourt-Smith, he wrote that he knew that Harcourt-Smith didn't like Rodin's work very much. So he was aware that the director of the museum might not actually agree to this display.
But to McLagan's surprise, the director conceded. The display attracted enormous interest, triggering a new attitude at the museum to modern art.
This is really significant. Rodin was the first living artist to have a solo show at the V&A. And by a French sculptor as well, not a British sculptor, a French sculptor.
Here is the first of the letters we have from Rodin.
Yes, he says, "Please allow me, sir, to thank the director of the museum. The arrangement and proportions of the show are perfect. I've been so struck by it that I've had the idea to eternalize its success. This is how I came to the idea of offering to England all the works in totality." That's incredible. What's amazing is how quickly we go from having a loan of Rodin's work to the museum, and then just within weeks, Rodin decides to gift these pieces to the nation. That's such a dream for a curator.
Yes, yeah.
The V&A was controlled and funded directly from central government at that time, and the decision to receive Rodin's gift put a nose out of joint at the Board of Education.
This big red writing is from the minister, Joseph Pease, and he says, "On principle, I think the director, in matters of policy such as housing, a private exhibition, should have referred the acceptance or otherwise of the collection to me for decision." The minister, very displeased that this important decision had been made without consulting him. And so he wrote quite fiercely in bright red ink back to the director saying, "You should not have made this decision." So clearly he was very upset that he had not been asked about this.
And the museum's director was equally forthright in his response.
Cecil Smith writes back, "Personally, I may say that I detest most of Rodin's work, but there's no doubt, as Mr. McLagan says, that when the history of modern art comes to be written, Rodin's sculpture will bulk large as an important factor."
It's really direct. It's got that kind of, I think you'll find.
Yes, he's certainly, it's certainly a slightly irritated letter.
Yes.
He doesn't like being bossed around by the secretary at the Board of Education.
This is quite extraordinary.
This information sheds new light on one of the V&A's most important collections.
I'm really inspired by the ways in which The director of the museum kind of went against his own instinctual tastes and said, yes, this is fine, let's have this work at the V&A.
In the spirit of Rodin's initial loan to the V&A, Inner Voice is now about to be lent to Switzerland.
When a work like this leaves your museum, your heart always squeezes a little, doesn't it?
Very good. Very smooth.
But it's also really exciting to be able to share the collections with other people. We want to be able to share it.
With the Africa Fashion Exhibition fast approaching, decisions need to be made on how best to display the kente cloth. Wrapping the material on a mannequin is the task of conservator Jill.
As this is such a personal item to Joyce and Gladys, it's important to know how they actually wore it and to represent that within the exhibition.
To get up to speed, Jill's arranged a kente tying tutorial with the family.
Hi, it's lovely to meet you at last.
Nice to meet you too.
So I'm Jill, I'm one of the costume mounters at the V&A, and what I'd really like is if you can sort of talk me through how you tie it on. So I've just got some calico cut to the same size.
Jill's using a cheap fabric to practice on.
Textiles can be quite fragile things, and we don't want to be tying it repeatedly because that can damage it. So that's really why we're using some cotton to do this.
So there's two sizes, a smaller one I'm assuming is the shawl?
The bigger cloth is what you would use to wrap around your waist.
Okay.
So you spread the fabric wide and almost like find the center.
Okay.
And take the two ends and then literally wrap it. Yeah, you join it, you wrap it around the waist.
Okay, so that's centered on the figure. So what would I do now?
If you just tie at the front and let's have a look.
Yeah, so if I just take these two ends.
Yeah, and just tie at the front.
So you end up with like a flap of fabric on the left-hand side, is that good?
No.
So obviously it's quite complicated trying to tell someone how to tie something that normally you'd be tying on yourself. It's like tying a tie on yourself, really easy, you can do it without thinking, but if you try and describe to someone else how to do that, suddenly it's very complicated.
You have to wrap it again because you won't be able. You won't be able to tie the ends.
So would you just knot that, or would you tuck that in?
You would knot it.
Okay, let me try that again. So would I do that?
Go with one end, like so. Yes.
Yeah.
Wrap that one twice.
Yeah, that feels a lot better.
Yeah. Then you put the top on top of the kente.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all.
So from that, you'd sort of pull the blouse down over it, and then that's kind of it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to Joyce and Gladys coming to the museum to see the finished mount. Hopefully I've had enough input from them that they'll be pleased with how it turns out.
So far, the investigation into whether the wooden tray is an example of a rare decorative technique has drawn a blank. Now, Conservator Dana is turning to the last resort.
To definitively identify Barney's de Pasto, we need to identify the presence of Mopa Mopa.
For that, she must scratch the surface of the 300-year-old varnish.
I'm going to be taking a destructive sample.
It's always an uncomfortable experience when you're potentially damaging an object.
I've got my nice sharp blade and I'm going to go in at an area of damage. That makes it a little easier to remove my sample of material.
So when I approach an object with a scalpel, I want to make sure that my hands are as steady as possible so I never have any coffee or tea. It's a nerve-wracking experience.
So that went really well. I've got a great sample, managed to get it into the vial without it going flying, so that's a great success.
The tiny sample now needs to be analysed by scientist Lucia and her colleague Bhavesh.
We need to do some proper advanced science on the tray.
The sophisticated microscope uses infrared light to identify the molecular signature of Mopa Mopa.
Inside here, there's a detector, and it only works at cool temperatures. At the moment, it's too warm, so we're cooling it down with liquid nitrogen to get a cleaner spectrum.
150 years ago, there weren't even scientists who would look at objects. Now we can use a lot of sophisticated and advanced scientific techniques.
This is the surface where the analysis will take place. So it's now collecting samples, and you're getting your characteristic peaks.
What we see on the screen is a sequence of peaks, and when we compare it with a library of known samples, we can then tell whether we do have Mopa Mopa there or not.
So now they're lined side by side. We can stack them so that we can compare peaks. And you can see
it's a pretty good match.
So we have matches here. These peaks are matching, and they both have a similar shape.
So we have Mopa Mopa.
Yeah.
Good. That's really what we wanted to find. Well done. Thank you. This was definitely proof that sometimes it is worthwhile to take a destructive sample from your object.
The results reveal what they've been looking for.
Hello. So Bhav did the analysis, and he compared the results to reference samples of Mopa Mopa that we have on our database. And I'm quite confident that we do have Mopa Mopa in front of us.
How exciting. I'm thrilled. It's really cool that
Well done.
that it's confirmed now.
We've got a result. It's great that we've identified Mopa Mopa. It's giving us another example within our collection that's quite different from our other pieces, which is fantastic news.
Having firm, evidence-based data that this is Barnista Pasto gives us that much more confidence.
This confirmation brings the V&A's rare Barnista Pasto collection up to 6 items.
It is beautiful, it's interesting, and knowing that it's made with a technique that we don't have many remnants of from ages past makes it even more unique and more special.
I mean, the possibility of whether we might find more Barnista Pasto, you know, never say never.
I don't know if we have any more Barnista Pasto within our collection, but it's certainly possible.
So now, let's pop our blouse on top.
In textile conservation, Jill is making some last-minute adjustments to the kente cloth.
I just want to see how she wore her shawl as well, so draped over her left shoulder. So it almost looks like it's folded in half again. Something like that.
She needs to wrap things up quickly, as the owner of the kente, Gladys, and her family have arrived to see it before it enters the exhibition.
Hi, lovely to see you all again. Welcome, really nice to see you all.
It's an anxious moment for Christine.
We want to feel that we've got it right. We want to make sure that they're happy with the way that we've presented it.
En route, the family are getting a behind-the-scenes peek at other examples of kente that will star alongside Gladys's in the exhibition.
Is this kente? Well, this is kente. So I thought I'd show you a little glimpse, a sneak peek of one of the contemporary pieces. This particular garment was designed by the designer Iman Ayissi, who's originally from Cameroon, but now based in Paris.
I just love the colours.
The colours are lovely. But it's just lovely to see that continuing story, isn't it, of Kente?
Absolutely beautiful.
But it's Gladys's Kente that they're most keen to see.
Look! That's you! It looks beautiful. Grandma, what do you think?
It's nice.
It's nice. Is this how you would like originally wear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wondered if I folded the shawl part the wrong way. I've folded it lengthwise, so it's very long. Whereas in the pictures, it maybe looks a bit shorter.
Oh, with that too, it depends on how you want it.
Yeah.
Some people want it longer, some people too want it shorter.
And so you feel that we've done an okay job?
Oh yes, amazing.
You've got it spot on.
Brilliant. Well, that's useful, because we can do that. I didn't realise that.
I came to the V&A the first time I was about age 11. So now seeing, especially my grandmother's cloth being exhibited is just breathtaking.
It would be lovely to see it in situ, you know, with all the other fabrics.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so excited. Actually, yeah.
Gladys's Kente will take pride of place in Christine's exhibition. But once it's over, she's requested that the cloth be returned to the family, as she has her own plans for its future. Though her daughter Doris has different ideas.
For me, it's important for the family and the next generation, kids, to see. Yeah, but Mum want to take it with her.
Is that traditionally what you would do? You would take it with you? Ah, oh, I see.
It's our tradition.
On her dying bed, in the...
I should take it.
She want to take it with her. And I always tell the girls, so let's see.
You can't tell her.
For now, Gladys's Kente is getting a new lease of life in the exhibition and will help Christine tell the story of African style.
Having these additional ensembles by members of the public and sitting them right alongside the work of the finest couture designers, it shows the richness and diversity of African culture. I think that's what's exciting.
Next time, the work of a photographer who celebrated the might of industry is brought to light.
Morris was somebody who had very big dreams. He was obsessed.
A fragile fabric needs a magic wand to wash away 170 years of dirt.
It's a very stubborn textile. Let's hope it works.
Oh my goodness.
And a fashion legend is reunited with her production file after 50 years.
This is so emotionally valuable. It's amazing.
How many stories can a single artifact tell us about history? Trace the life of some amazing objects that span cultures and generations by going to bbc.co.uk/secrets of the museum and follow the links to the Open University.